Hey everyone, I'm back, and today we're going to be talking about Crash, and this movie is directed by Paul Haggis, I don't know how to pronounce his name, and it stars Matt Dillon, Sandra Bullock, Brendan Fraser, and it's the big cast in this movie, and it pretty much just goes on, and I've seen this movie once before. I didn't really like it the first time, and upon rewatching this movie, it wasn't really all that special, in my opinion. And apparently, I watched the director's cut, which is what this DVD came with, and I have no idea what the differences are between the theatrical cut and this director's cut, but I don't think it's going to make a huge difference as to whether or not I'm going to feel as though the movie is significantly better in the theatrical cut as opposed to the director's cut. So I just wanted to get that out of the way, let you know which version I watched, and there were things that I liked about it. There were some good performances in this movie, and I liked what the movie was trying to say. I like how it's trying to present a problem that's going on in the modern world, and it's like, hey, this is a problem, this needs to stop, and that I like about the movie. But where I take issue with it is its execution. I just don't really feel anything. There's a lot of characters in this movie, but I don't really know any of them. And by the end of the film, the only character whose name I could remember was Officer John Ryan, I think, played by Matt Dillon. And the only reason I could remember his character's name was because it was my name, John. And that's literally the only reason why I could remember it. And the rest of the characters, you get their perspective as to what they're going through. However, there just isn't really all that much to them. And there's too many characters in this movie. And because of that, it kind of makes it really hard to develop all of them or make them interesting. Like, you get their perspective as to how they view the world, but that's literally it. And the music in the movie I was not a fan of at all. I just didn't feel as though it helped the movie in any way. And whenever the movie was trying to make comments about racism, it just kind of just felt forced to me, and it didn't really feel natural. And that was a big letdown for me. In terms of movies that I think are kind of similar but better, in my opinion, and this movie did remind me of it, and that was Do the Right Thing. And this movie is kind of similar in ways, but that movie is a lot more engaging, and it's more of a dark comedy, and I do think that helps the movie out a lot, and it makes it easier for you to get into the film, and that's what I really like about that movie in particular. Whereas this movie, it doesn't really have that side of it. All it has to offer is just racism, and this is a problem, but unfortunately, narratively speaking, it doesn't have anything else to offer. And I didn't feel as though there were any stakes. Nothing really mattered in the grand scheme of the story, because the movie barely has a story, and not a lot happens, and it is kind of a boring movie to watch because of the lack of amount of things that are happening. The only scenes that I kind of liked about the movie was when it was just family moments in the film, when certain characters were interacting with their families. Those scenes I thought were the best scenes in the movie because they were actually kind of developing them, and it was a nice little break from everything else going on in the movie. I was like, oh, the movie's actually giving them something, and you get a bit of who they are, and that stuff I really liked. But that's about 10% of the movie, and the rest of the movie is just a lot of filler, really, because nothing really happens. And I liked how the movie ended, and I liked what the movie was trying to say once we got to the end of the film. That's as much as I can say without giving it away. There are some things that I do like about the movie. It's just as a whole, it doesn't really work too well for me. And I just wish that it was better developed and I actually cared about the characters more. And I wished that there was more of a narrative going on instead of just all these separate side stories kind of just coming into one big gigantic story. Like, that's been done before, and it's not like I'm against it. It's just the movie doesn't really do anything interesting with it. And also, the way this movie is shot, like, it's not the worst thing in the world, but there were no wide shots in this movie, really, except for like a couple. And I think that was done intentionally to give you a sense of claustrophobia, but it didn't really work because it was throughout the entire film. And there were points where I couldn't really get a good sense of what certain characters were supposed to be looking at. And there's a scene in this movie where a car accident happens and you can like barely see like what happened because of how it was shot, and it's a little difficult to explain, but I just didn't feel as though I could see everything that the characters were seeing, and that was kind of a letdown. And that's about all I have to say about Crash. It was okay. I didn't hate the movie by the end of it. There are things that I liked, but its biggest problem for me is that it was just really, really boring. And I didn't really get much out of it. And I just wish that the characters were better. It was a better shot film, and the music was a lot better and complemented every scene that it was in. I'm not against like the message that the movie was trying to say. I just wish that it was in service of something that I was more invested in. So unfortunately, I cannot recommend that you check this movie out. I don't think it's worth your time. And with all that being said, I'm going to give Crash a 5 out of 10. Thank you for watching my videos. As always, if you enjoyed this review, be sure to leave a like and comment down below you thought of Crash, and my social media links, they will all be in the description, so follow me there. And last but not least, subscribe to be a part of Foley Nation, and I'll see when I get my next review up, and that is going to be for 6 Underground. So look forward to that, but until I get that up, thank you for watching and have a great day.